So before we hit the final story of the year, I want to ask you for a little bit of help in tending to the roots of it. If this show has given you any moment of peace or a spark of truth, please hit the subscribe button. It's the simplest way to help us keep growing and to help us keep this work breathing. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the soil. Now let's begin. They see the branches, but they forget the struggle in the dark. A tree does not grow because it wants to be seen. It grows because it has to survive the wind. This year, we sat together in the quiet. We've looked at the same insecurities that keep us small and the masks that keep us safe. This logo, this tree, it isn't just a design. It's a testament to the fact that you can be broken and still be beautiful. You can be weathered and still stand tall. As we close this chapter, remember, your roots are the power. Welcome to the finale. We've come to the edge of the year together. I can almost feel the season turning, the quiet shift in the air when the leaves finally let go. Today, we are settling the ledger on the cost of you. And I'll be honest with you, it's a heavy thing to hold. I've spent so much of my life trying to buy a sense of belonging with pieces of my own heart, only to realize I was bankrupting the very spirit I was trying to save. I want us to sit in this truth, no judgment, just grace. It's about calling your spirit home and finally honoring the person you were always meant to be. Stay with me until the very end. I have something I want to share about the road ahead. Now let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to This Tree and Me. I am Cory J. Riggs, and this is a season 1 finale. We're ending the year here because I think we're all a little tired of the act. This isn't about giving you a pep talk or some positive vibes that don't stick. This is just about being honest. Today's story is the cost of you. Now let's get into it. So how many of us have been in relationships that we knew weren't great for us, but we stayed in? Raise the hands. Lock the elbow. How many of us have stayed in jobs where they were draining us, but it was easier to stay because they paid the bills than try to find a new one and start over? Again, lock that arm. How many of us have said yes when we wanted to say no, whether it be to friends, a partner, children, family? We just didn't want to do something or go somewhere or whatever it was. We said yes instead of saying no to make them feel better or to not miss out. There's a lot of these examples that I could use to discuss the topic today, which is the cost of you. All these little things aren't so little. Some of them are big. Staying in relationships, staying with a friend group, staying at a job, staying in any unhealthy environment because it's easier than starting something new or being alone or finding a new path, which is scary sometimes and hard. So it's easier just to stay and continue doing what we're doing. Or it's easier, heck, I'll go find, a new relationship. Or, you know what? I know these people. I'll just go hang out with them. It all costs. And it all builds up. So if you think about that, no matter what age you are, and you add up all those times you did this from small to large, think about the debt that you would have if those were bills coming from your rent, your mortgage, right? Think about those as a bill from your personal electric company. and you haven't paid them because you keep avoiding them. Because telling the truth that you don't want to be in a relationship, telling the truth that you don't want to go hang out with your friends or go somewhere with your family or whatever that is, or telling yourself the truth that I need to change careers or change jobs, this place is wearing me out, it's draining me. Whatever that story is, paying that debt at the time can be difficult. It takes honesty. It takes courage. We talk about courage a lot on this podcast. It takes discipline. But it all starts with you. It takes loving yourself enough to always be honest to yourself and to others. It takes loving yourself enough to always listening to your heart and asking, if I do this, does that feed me or not? And that's hard. That is scary work. Scary. Some of us do it, some better than others. Some of us do it very well in certain parts of our life, but not in other parts of our life. So let's say you're financially stable. Let's just take that example. But you're on your fourth marriage, or you have no relationship with your children, or pick another one. You make very bad decisions with your friend group on the weekends, or pick any other part of your life. They bleed in each other. It's the entire wellness that I like to talk about. It's the holistic approach to it all. And it's not to say you can't live a good life. And it's not to say that your life can't be good enough for you. But is that what you want? Good enough? Do you want to just survive? Hey, you know what? It's okay, but I got money in the bank, so you know what? If I don't have a good relationship, whatever, I'll just go find another one. Or, hey, you know what? My career is really good, and I got a stable work life. So what that they treat me poorly, or it drains me, and every day I get home from work, I have to have 3 scotches. Or your story's your story. Pick it. You find it. The cost of all of that is your soul. The cost of your life, is it worth all that? What if you woke up one day and you decided, I'm going to change all of this. I'm going to work every day diligently to listen and follow my true self, to listen within and be guided, and to allow myself to be a vessel to whatever this world wants from me. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job. It doesn't mean you have to get out of your marriage, change your friends, move to another city. When you start listening, it will guide you. It will tell you what you should be doing. And as long as you're doing it for you, all those other things will take care of themselves. If you start following that, and your marriage dissolves, or your relationship, or whatever it is, there's probably a reason for it. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll see that. And you probably already knew it to begin with. If you change jobs, you move to a different career, you start over somewhere else. Again, if you're true to yourself and honest with yourself, you can look back and say, yeah, I probably needed to do that a while back. Why didn't I do this years ago? right? Why? Because it's not easy. Because it's stinking hard. It's easier to be silent than to speak up for ourselves. It's easier to keep the peace and just keep going along with the status quo than to truly listen to ourselves and be honest. To listen to yourself and allow whatever is calling you to be. It's not about changing or becoming a good man or a good woman or whatever. It's nothing about labels. It's simply about being true to yourself and listening inside. And that's very, very difficult. And I go back, I started this journey, right, on August 1st, 2022, when I started the carnivore diet, not knowing where it was going to lead me. If I would have known at that time, who knows? Maybe I would have said, nope, no thank you. I hope not, but it's very possible. But that's how this works. You take a step, and the next step, and the next step will just start showing up for you. I've always said, because I've learned this from my own work and from following and listening to my mentors, it's a lot easier, guys, to get rid of crap than it is to go get stuff. If I say, I don't want this in my life anymore, whatever this is, it's a lot easier to find ways to get rid of that than it is to say, you know what? I want to be happy. What does happy mean? How do you get happy? Buying something? There's people that have all this stuff in the world, that all the money in the world, that they're not happy. A relationship? There's people in miserable relationships right now. And they'll always be. Relationships don't make you happy. But I definitely know how to get rid of something that's in my life because I deal with it every day. It's a lot easier to start shedding things that give you less pain. You hope that you get more pleasure out of releasing these things, but if not, just being in less pain is a much better place. But we're so used to paying this cost to live. We think we're doing the right thing. We think we're pushing through life, working hard, getting, doing a good job, having a family, relationships come and go, right? Life's life. We tell ourselves this, right? To justify the survival mode that we're in constantly. Instead of stopping and taking a breath and listening inside. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It is very, very, very difficult to follow what's guiding you blindly and just know that your heart and soul is telling you to do it, to go do it. But if people didn't do that, what would we have in life? If people didn't do that, would we have the heroes of the world that have done so much for humanity? Would we have the people in life that make us laugh? Would we have the people in life that make the movies that are just insanely good and meaningful? Would we have the people in life that do the work that help and feed starving people and this and that? None of that is easy work. But it's rewarding. Is it easy to live a lie? Is it easy to just survive? So the contradictory of it is we tell ourselves that life is so hard, we're doing our best, we're getting through it, we may have got divorced, We may have gotten this, whatever has fallen through life. And that's hard, but we're getting through it. And that's not rewarding. Surviving is not rewarding. And then we say, over on this side, doing what we're called to do, what our heart says, and what makes us happy, truly happy, and being honest, good human beings. Well, that's hard too. So which hard do you pick? I had a guy at one of the spiritual events that I went to, and he said, you know what? Being poor is hard, being rich is hard. Pick one. That hit me like a ton of bricks. Right over the head. Like, no crap. It is not easy doing either. But we all can make the excuse, well, I would have done that, but look, I don't have this. Or look, the only reason they can do that is because they had this, this, and this. We can make all the excuses. We can pay the cost to survive. We can put on the mask to tell the stories. We can stay in the relationships we shouldn't be in. We can do all those things and justify the survival of life by paying the cost of our soul. But we're not willing to pay the cost to be happy, to be rewarded by what we do in life, to love ourselves, to give ourselves joy, to give ourselves compassion and grace, to befriend ourselves so we can give to others. Which cost do you want? That's the question to ask. And this is why this episode was so hard for me. One, it hits me so hard. And two, it's just hard to keep a positive spin on it because we need this. Humanity needs this. The world needs this. We're so divisive. We're so stuck in me against you. My group's right, your group's wrong. I live correctly, you live the wrong way. And we put on these masks and we tell these stories and we go through life and we finally get to a point in our life. And you see it all the time or hear about it all the time. And you might have loved ones that you recognize it in that just did this exact kind of life. And then all of a sudden at the end, you get an I love you. Or you get an I'm proud of you. And you've never gotten that your whole life. Why? Why do we have to wait until we're dying? Why do we have to wait until we're on our deathbed? What is that weird thing about life that we can't live it while we're capable of living it? We create heaven and hell on earth. Heaven is not a destination. Hell is not a destination. It is created right here by you. You can choose to live in heaven or you can choose to live in hell. And that's the cost that what cost are you willing to pay for which one? There's no magic answer. There's no magic sauce. There's no secret to it. Because it's all right inside you. All you need to do is listen. And all you need to do is take that courageous step. We all see the stories on the news or on whatever magazines we read or, like I love CBS Sunday Morning. I've made that very clear. It's one of my favorite shows. There was a guy today on it, just this morning, that was using the cards for the subway system in New York to make art out of New York scenery. So apartments or this or that, or just the Statue of Liberty, things like that. Whatever. He was making art of New York out of the subway cards. He'd cut them up or he'd stack them in a certain way. He just listened inside and started doing it. And was so happy talking about it, just pure joy. Another lady on there was talking. She was a gingerbread house maker, and it was just, it's what they were called to do. It may not be glamorous. It may not be, I'm a movie star, or I'm a singer, or I'm an artist. We all think of the calling of things like this. Or exactly what I'm doing right now. We think that, in my past, I have thought that, you have a specific calling if you're going to be a spiritual person, if you're going to be a guide or a life coach or a wellness coach or a podcaster or any kind of artist or anything in the realm of spirituality. That's the only people who have callings. And that is not true. There's so many different people that I've watched on that show and seen in others and stuff like that they have their own different callings. There's the most joyous, happy people that are in dog rescue, right? That are veterinarians or that are plumbers, that are just living their best life, that are preachers or ministers. Pick one. We've all seen people in our lives that are just living their truest, best life. And they're giving the world what they were meant to give. So it doesn't have to be big, glamorous, all that. You just need to listen and follow it. And that can be the hardest part of it all, right? But what happens if you stop apologizing for the space that you take up? What if you stop making excuses for where you're at in life? What if the person that everyone expects you to be, or that you think that everyone expects you to be? That was my case for the most part. I've always thought I had to act and be a certain way to fit in, to belong, to make myself worthy for other people to love or be around. So I put on different masks in different situations. So what happens if you realize that that person is actually the person that's standing in your way to become who you were meant to be? I know I can speak to that one. Right? It's not easy to pay those debts. It's not easy to stop costing your life and your soul and what you are truly meant to be and how you are truly meant to walk this earth, because you just want to fit in and belong. What if you're meant to belong and fit in somewhere else? You're telling me if you don't become the best CEO, that all of a sudden people aren't going to love you because you chose to be the best poetry writer that you could be and give that to the world? Why can't you do both? And if the best thing is, if you find your calling in your path and all of a sudden you start walking it, what if that is something the world needs and wants, and your innate ability is actually something that can put food on the table, do all these things? That's a blessing. But you don't need to have that. But you need to stop telling the stories that you think other people want to hear or need to hear. And you just need to start telling the stories that you need to hear. You need to start telling the stories that come from within and being honest with yourself and listening to them. You have to let that light shine that's in your heart and soul. It's one of the most rewarding things you'll ever find. And the journey to get there, again, I will never say it's easy. But is life easy already? I'll always go back to that. Which do you think's more rewarding? A true smile that comes from your heart because you know you're doing your best and you're trying to be the best person and the best version of yourself that you can be? Or the smile that you put on that mask because you want someone over there to like you. Or you don't want to get fired. Or pick something. Doesn't matter. Which smile's better? Is it easier to stay stuck in the rut of life that you're in? Or to find something that truly brings you joy? Is it better to keep the people around you and stay in the relationship that doesn't feed you? Or is it better to be your authentic self and maybe be alone for a while? Find yourself, be alone, be happy, and attract the person that feels that happiness and feels that energy inside you and says, I like that a lot. Which is better? I think it's easy to answer, not easy to do. Takes courage. Takes a lot of courage. Takes vulnerability. Takes all those scary things that we try to avoid. And once you start doing them, the next one gets easier. Pay the smallest bill. Pay the smallest debt that you can think of in your life right now that you pay every day, or actually avoid paying every day, by putting a mask on or by not being honest with your word about something. Whatever it is, pick the smallest thing. Win it. You know what's going to happen? You're going to shed something that you no longer want in your life. And you're going to feel better about it. Then you know what's going to happen? You're going to do it again. Then you'll find another thing. And eventually you'll stack those wins. And the harder they get, the more rewarding. And the more rewarding, the more pride you feel, the more competent you feel, the more confidence you feel, the more self-worth you have. That is not easy. But the feeling of true self and true accomplishment and true self-worth, I'll pay that price over feeling like crap every day of the week because I'm doing something or acting some way or being with somebody that I don't want to be with, or I don't want to do, or I don't want to say. I'll pay that other price because, again, I'll go back to that guy. Being poor is hard. Being rich is hard. Pick your hard. It really boils down to that, guys. And I hope that you can find what encourages you to pick your hard and to pick the one that feeds you. That you pick the one that makes you feel like the best human you can feel. That makes you have a reward so great inside that you want to feel that so much more. And it can be the smallest thing, guys. I can't tell you how rewarding it makes me feel to walk into my bedroom at the end of the day to see a nicely made bed. It sounds like the goofiest thing in the world. It would have to me years ago. But I actually enjoy it. And that was one of the small wins that I won. Take care of yourself, man. Make your bed. Right? You take showers, you brush your teeth, you do all this. Make your bed. How about this one? How many... I'm going to raise my hand really high for those listening that can't see me. How about not living out of a laundry basket or out of clean clothes that are laying on a chair or something like that because you don't want to fold it and put away? That's a massive one for me. Yeah. And every time you walk by, you look at him like, God dang it, I know I need to do that. And then you just, then you make the excuse the next day or when somebody comes over or whatever. I just, blah, blah. I don't have time. I don't have this. Yes, you do. How about you just don't watch a TV show for 10 minutes? How about you don't, go sit down and watch Netflix or whatever? How about you delay that? How about you wake up 10 minutes early and take it? Whatever it is, find your wins. I can't say it enough. Find your small little wins in this and keep following that. And I promise you, eventually you'll listen enough to what feels good to you that those little things will build into big things. And I'm not saying that all of a sudden magically you're going to wake up and be like, I know what I want to do with my life forever. You may. But you also have to be okay with the fact that that might change too. That one step may lead to another that takes you away from what you thought it was going to be. So don't put labels on it. Don't hold everything like it has to be this way. Be flexible. Be open to change. But don't give in on listening to yourself. No longer take those bills that life is throwing at you and just throwing them in the shredder. Don't throw them away any longer. Take that bill, look at it. Can I pay it right now? Do I have the ability within me to pay this right now? If not, how can I? What steps can I take to pay this? And start little. I'm telling you, be honest to yourself. That was a big one for me. Telling myself the truth. Quit telling myself stories that I'm doing okay, I don't need to go to the gym. Telling myself I'm okay, I don't need to write today. Telling myself I don't need to meditate, pray today. Stop it. Don't lie to yourself anymore. Little steps. You're worth the price of admission. And I hope that you can find the ability to charge others what you are worth, so you no longer have people in your life that don't respect and love and want you to be the best version of you, that you are no longer in relationships that drain you instead of make you better and feel good and make you want to make them be better. I really, really hope that you can start finding that value in yourself, so that way when that price tag goes on that shoulder of yours, and that little price tag goes on that head of yours, wherever you want to put that price tag, whenever that price tag goes up, that it is worth what you believe and what you value yourself as. And that number should not be small. That should be a big cost for anyone that you want in your life. I hope you find that. As we close this circle today, I want you to take a breath and just look at what you are holding. We've talked about the debt we pay. We've talked about it when we hide who we are. But remember, the moment you stop the war with yourself, the world starts to change. I hope you carry this story with you. I hope you decide that your peace is worth more than their approval. Hear that. Your peace is worth more than their approval. Thank you for sitting with me in this quiet. It's been quite the year. I honor the space that we share. I appreciate you very much. It has been an honor to walk this path with you. I love you all. Be blessed. Thank you for being a part of the heartbeat of this show. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Your support is the water that keeps these roots growing and allows us to keep telling these stories. Looking ahead to 2026, the landscape is shifting a little bit. Season 2 is going to be about the industrial arc. It's about preserving our humanity, bridging the wisdom of our elders with the fire of our youth, and finding the center in a world of noise. I cannot wait to show you what we've been building for 2026. Until then, stay rooted. I love you all. Be blessed.